Clone Wars Season 7, Episode 11, Shattered. So this, of course, is the penultimate episode of the entire Clone Wars series. Another amazing episode. I started the episode, and I saw, they always have, the description and stuff. So I saw the episode, I just hit play, and I was like, hold on. And I hit back, because I knew I saw Order 66, and so I read the description, and I was like, okay. I had to, take a minute and just be like, alright, I'm ready. So, it was an amazing episode, of course. I wish I could express to people how good this has been. Because I'm sure there are a ton of people who are just I have to wonder if any of the people, well, I'm sure some of the people, I know some of the people, but a bunch of the people that are super mad at Star Wars, I wonder if they watch Clone Wars. We still have something. I can admit, I was fine with the movies. I thought they were okay. I like Force Awakens the most out of the most recent trilogy, so it was I wasn't really up in arms holy crap, this and that. I don't think, admittedly, I don't think any of those three films had my favorite Star Wars moment, or even a moment where I'm that's one of the coolest Star Wars moments ever. The Last Jedi had, the fight scene looked cool. Of course, there's a bunch of stuff with that even where, if you slow it down and pay attention to some of the fight stuff, they had to, CG out some of the weapons and stuff like that. And a bunch of random stuff because they didn't do good fight choreography. So it's even when it's a good moment, it's it's ruined by, technical stuff that they just didn't bother actually doing correctly. So, nothing in the recent movies is holy crap, that's the most amazing thing ever. But the shows have been good. Mandalorian, like I mentioned before, if you haven't seen my reviews for the Mandalorian season 1, you can check that out. I'm pretty sure I did a full season review if you just want to check out my thoughts on the season as a whole. So I'm pretty sure I did both of those. But either way, you can check that out if you're interested. But with Clone Wars, after that last episode, that was just the most beautiful thing ever. I've been watching a bunch of Star Wars stuff. It was mocap. I mentioned something about it. I was it was different. It was mocap. That was actually Ray Park. The original Darth Maul came back. So that was amazing. I was this is just really cool. And then, going into this one, especially when I read the description, knowing it was Order 66, it just made me think. I was all I could think of when I see Order 66 now is what are all the different things that we've seen? Excuse me, as far as perspectives from Order 66. Because so far, at least as far as I've seen, I haven't seen a ton of stuff. I'm sure there are a million more comics, Kanan has his own experience and stuff like that from Rebels. I never read that comic to actually see what he went through, but we have his perspective on it. We have, of course, episode 3. We have, if you haven't played it, I highly recommend Jedi Fallen Order. It's absolutely amazing. It was without a doubt, finishing the Mandalorian season 1 and then playing that game around the same time. I was so happy. I was man, it's a good time for Star Wars. So I highly recommend you play that. But episode 3, Kanan's comic, Fallen Order, has an Order 66 moment, which is also very intense. And now we have this, and I'm sure there are others that I'm not familiar with comic-wise, of course. But it was just interesting. All I think of is, I know what happens in, 3 different parts of the universe with this moment, because it's such a big thing. More than that, really, because even with episode 3, they're all on different planets when they show the other Jedi and stuff. But it's just so interesting to see it again and be how do they escape? How does Ahsoka escape? What happens with Rex? Because obviously we know that he ends up surviving and he doesn't turn on everyone. So it's well, how does that end up playing out? So that was just incredibly well done. I love the way it happened. And I was just waiting. Honestly, I was waiting the whole episode. Once I saw that, I was every time it was quiet, I was hologram's about to pop up and Palpatine's going to say execute Order 66. I was just waiting. Every single time it was a bunch of clones together, I'm they're going to turn and Ahsoka has to do this quick escape. And then, of course, as soon as it was oh, there's, a call for you. And, Ahsoka was no, you go ahead. I'm sure it's more good news. And Rex went by himself. I was it's about to happen. And then, of course, they have Ahsoka sense Anakin turning to the dark side when he fights Mace Windu. I love that they actually put the dialogue in. I thought that was pretty cool. But it was so interesting. I was okay, it's officially happening right now. And so you see Ahsoka going through it. Darth Maul is going through it. He's locked up in the last chamber that the Mandalorians made to hold Jedi, which is a cool moment. Also, they showed Sabine's mom, the woman that I keep forgetting the woman's name, but the woman that brought Ahsoka in, I constantly forget her name, but Satine's sister, the woman next to her, that was Sabine's mom, and I don't think she was in the last episode. I feel like this was the first time they showed her without her helmet. And I could be wrong. She may have even been in Clone Wars before that. I wouldn't be surprised if she was. But I was like, oh, that's cool. Like that was Sabine's mom. But Darth Maul's locked up, Ahsoka's on the bridge, and they both senses like, holy crap, something just happened. And then, the moment with Rex, I thought was so well done. Like she walks to him and it's like, like she knows something's wrong, and he turns on her and he's like crying and stuff. And I was like, this is such a good moment. He's like, find fives. And I was like, what is he talking? He's like, find them. He's like, fives. And I was like, what is he talking about? This doesn't make any sense. So then we find out that he has a record that he made where it's like, don't know if this will mean anything. It's probably falling on deaf ears, but or deaf ears. I said deaf, but falling on deaf ears. But I feel like I should make this report and talk about what I heard. And so then, of course, Ahsoka figures out the truth. She's able to help Rex. Very cool moment. Darth Maul also had an amazing moment. I was really, really hoping, and maybe we'll see it in the finale, because we know that he has his lightsaber somewhere. Like it's somewhere on the ship. I would have to assume, because he does have his lightsaber in Star Wars Rebels. So I was like, okay, and it's still the double-sided lightsaber. It just looks different. So I don't know exactly what's gonna happen there, but I would love to see him, even if it's not mocap again. I would love to see him take some more people down with his lightsaber. But he had a crazy moment. It took me back to old Clone Wars, which was pretty sweet, because he killed quite a few people. Like he decapitated a guy and just threw a piece of metal, just boom, chopped his head off, impaled another dude on the wall, and then he just like mentally destroyed another human being, where he was just like, oh, the door's closing, why don't you just come back here? And the dude's just struggling, and like his friends are trying to pull him, and his arms just going through as this thing's closing in on him. And I was like, that has to like really mess with your head. Like you're just struggling and he's just pulling, like just so calm, just calm murder. And he's just like, why don't you just come over here? I was like, why don't you take a seat? And it was just like, this is a crazy moment. And he's just wiping people out left and right. They can't shoot worth crap. They're just as bad as stormtroopers. Because that first part when he walked around, he wasn't like dodging or anything. They were just missing him. And then he picked up the shields and stuff. But when he first walked around that corner into that hallway, I'm like, these guys suck. But wipes them all out, and that was really cool. So we don't know exactly what happened with Darth Maul just yet. I'm sure we'll see. I mean, they're on the ship. We have to see what happens with Darth Maul. They'll say like, this is how he escaped, and this is how both Ahsoka and Rex end up escaping. So I can't wait for this last episode. I would love for it to be an hour long. I doubt that's gonna happen, but that would be really cool. That would be very, very cool if it was actually like, 1, 2, and 3, and then they're like, surprise, part 4 is basically 4 and 5, and we get an hour long episode. I don't know if that'll happen. I'm not even gonna look into it. Either way, I know it'll be amazing, so I don't mind if it's just another half hour. Much like some of the other episodes we've had, I feel like these last couple, the way they've done them, they just feel like they last a super long time too. And I think it's because they are hitting closer to the 30-minute mark, but it's also just really intense. So like going through the first, it's literally half the episode. Like they're on Mandalore, they get Maul, they take him and imprison him and stuff. And when they say like Order 66, like I paused it because I was like waiting for it to happen so I could take a break and like get breakfast and then watch the second half with food. And so I paused it, and there was still like 16 minutes left in the episode, and I was like, man, this is a meaty episode. Like everything that has happened is so intense. The episodes feel like insanely long because I'm just like, okay, when's it gonna happen? I feel like I'm waiting forever, and it's only been like 16 minutes, but I've loved it. I thought it was an amazing episode. I can't wait to see what they do for this finale. I just don't know what to expect. I really don't know what to expect. I mean, I think it's just them on the ship. So we basically have 3 people. So we have Maul, Ahsoka, and Rex. We have like 3 of the droids. The 3 droids that end up helping Ahsoka. And that's about it. So you got like 6 characters in total who aren't the bad guys on a giant ship full of people going through space. We don't know if they've officially destroyed the pods. That was like one of the first things Rex says, like, wipe out the security pods, the escape pods. So we don't see that happen just yet. So it may or may not have been done, but either way, we know they escaped. So it's just interesting to see how it goes through. And that's the best thing about it. That's when you know something is done well. When you know exactly how it's going to end, but you love it anyway. Because it was like the fight between Maul and Ahsoka. I was like, I know for a fact nothing's gonna happen. Ahsoka has both her arms, both her legs in Rebels. Maul hasn't lost anything extra, and I think I mentioned before, like he may have been chopped in half again, but that was about it. I'm like, I know he's not gonna die. So even with that, the writing is just that well done. Like we know what's technically gonna happen. We're just getting the little details to see exactly how it got to that point, and it's just so good. So I'm excited for this final episode, which is Monday, because they're putting it out on Star Wars Day, so I'm very excited for that. Also, for anyone who's randomly interested, there's going to be some new Star Wars stuff coming out on May 4th, so if you go on the Disney site, they have like this Star Wars Disney key thing coming out. I'm going to pick that up. I'll see what else they have. I'm not gonna lie. I'll just be honest. I'm gonna be one of the douchebags that scalps. I'm only gonna buy like one. I'm not gonna buy like 12 of them. I just want to buy one and just see if I can sell it. And if not, I got like a $13 cool Star Wars key. So I'm gonna buy one and we'll see what happens. I might buy two just in case I can sell it, and I might actually keep one because I might get it and then be like, that's pretty sweet. So who knows? But I do plan on at least getting one just to try to resell because I could use the money, admittedly. But I don't know what else they're going to sell. I don't know if we're going to be getting some more figures. I don't know if they're going to, come out with some new lightsabers. It would have to be like the special lightsabers for me to buy another lightsaber. Because I do have two. I haven't shown them in a long time, but I'll save that for the finale because I think it's worth it. So I got my two lightsabers. I got my... Actually, I have both of Luke's lightsabers. So, like, I have, like, Anakin Skywalker / Luke's lightsaber. And then I have Luke's green lightsaber. So, I have the Signature Series. Yeah, so I have the Signature Series for the blue one. And then I got the Black Series for the green one. I wish I could have got the Black Series, or the Signature Series for both. For anyone who doesn't know the difference, the Signature Series just has less power. They take, like, 3 AAA batteries. And then the Signature Series, I don't know if I said that right. The Signature Series takes 3 AA. The Black Series takes 3 AAA. So those lightsabers aren't as loud, but they also aren't as heavy. So you can kind of flip them around a lot better, and it's actually pretty cool. But I'll save those for the finale. So on Monday, I'll be swinging those around because I don't know, I might cry. Who knows what's going to happen? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see if the series finale of this can top the Mandalorian Season 1 finale, because what they did in that, I just didn't think would ever happen in live action, and that's why it hit me so hard, because I was like, I thought that was just like, like, it's one of those separations. Even though The Mandalorian was like the next Star Wars show, it was still one of the shows. It was the first live action show, but it was still like, oh, it's one of the shows. It's going to be in the same vein as Clone Wars. There are just certain things that we see in Clone Wars and Rebels and stuff like that hasn't gotten to really flourish with, live actors. And what they did in The Mandalorian Season 1, which if you're watching this and you haven't seen that, then I don't know what's wrong with you. You're missing out. Trust me. But what they did there, I was just like, I never thought it would happen in live action, which also means there's a very specific figure that I'm looking for. Obviously, I don't want to spoil it just in case you guys haven't caught up on that. But there's a very specific thing, which, now that I think about it, if that comes out on May 4th, guaranteed I'm buying it. I might buy 2 just to keep 2 on this very particular thing. But we'll see what happens. I'll talk about that in my next review, because I'll watch the episode after I get my little stuff online, because I think it goes on sale at 10 a.m. Eastern. I forgot Pacific time. I think that's what it is out there in California. So 7 a.m. there, 10 a.m. Eastern time if you're in the middle of that, or outside of that if you're not even in the States. You can just look that up and figure it out for yourself. But May 4th, we're getting some new items, and we're getting the final episode of Clone Wars, which, amazing, but still really sad. It's like the one thing I actually have to look forward to, as far as like, something new is happening. It's only Clone Wars. It's the only new thing that's really coming out. So it's just a heck of a time for it to be. I'd still be like all over it, even if it wasn't like we're in quarantine and things are insane all around the entire planet. But it's just an interesting time for it to happen, where it's just like, it's the only thing that's there. It's just Star Wars, and it is absolutely perfect. So I'm looking forward to the next episode, the final episode of all of Clone Wars. So, of course, I would love to know what you guys thought about this one. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, your least favorite parts about it. What do you want to see in the finale? What you don't want to see in the finale? Theories, hopes, expectations. I wanted to mention this because it popped into my head before I forget. They did the Rogue One, I am the Force and the Force. I am one with the Force and the Force is with me. That was super cool. I was like, oh, I didn't expect that reference to be thrown in there, because that was like the big thing when that movie came out. So I was like, oh, that's awesome. They had that reference. So we'll see what happens in this finale. I don't really have any hopes or expectations or anything like that. Like, we know what happens with the movies. So I would assume, we're going to do what they've been doing. So they're going to stick with Ahsoka and Rex and Maul. It's their side of the story right now. So we're not going to see anything from episode 3. If we did, that would be very interesting just to see what happens, because in the description of this episode, they even say like, oh, they're going to Coruscant. And I was like, are they gonna make it there, but not make it to like Anakin and Obi-Wan and stuff like that? Like they're gonna basically get there after the fact. Obviously, all my theories and stuff are wrong about the Bad Batch. We're probably getting a comic book for them. So we'll see what happens there. But I'm very excited for this last episode. Don't know what to expect except for something perfect. And that's all it can be. At this point, I have absolute faith that I'll just be like, okay, that was perfect. So I'm just waiting until Monday, and that's all there is to it. But like I said, want to know what you guys thought about this one. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.